Hello, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is Oston back again with another simple tutorial on web development. Still on this framework called Materialize CSS framework. I'm going to be showing you how you can create a simple tooltips on your elements. So the live example is already on your screen. Right now, if I hover my cursor over this element, we shall get that tooltip popping up showing you some extra information about the anchor tag or any element that will be having that attribute of a tooltip on your website. So that's what I'm going to be showing you in this simple tutorial. What you need to be having, you need to be having the Materialize CSS and Materialize JS. In case you don't have these files, I'm going to leave the first link in the description below where you're going to download these files, plus the link to the documentation about these tooltips in case you're not able to cover all things about the tooltips. You forgive me for that. Then, as I said, you need to be having these files. I already have tutorials about this, how you can get these files, but still I'm going to leave those links to cater for you guys who are new to my channel. We are going to start by creating a simple button. That's what I'm going to use for this tutorial. And let me say it's a delete button. Let me save. Probably let me put some heading here saying, oh, sorry, tooltip. Refresh. That's what we are having. So to style our button, we are just going to give it a class of, sorry, btn and red. It's a delete button. So that's our button right there. So we want when the user, let's say it's on an article, a post. So when the user focuses the cursor on that button, we need we need to bring out some pop-up message to the user like how you've seen here. We get that playlist, downloader, stuff like that, Nimbus Note, Mantis DB, and some extra information about that element. So let's say the user is going to delete an article, we put a tooltip telling the user you're about to delete an article or delete article, stuff like that. So what you need to do is add another class called tooltipped. So I'm going to show you the different two options you can go around with these tooltips. Then that's a class. Then we create an attribute called data dash tooltip, and this is the text you want the user to see. So I'm going to say delete article. So let's say it's an article the user is going to delete, and it's the message you want to display to the user. Let's say that, oh sorry. So right now, if you are to refresh, nothing's going to happen because before using that feature, we need to initialize it using the materialize syntax. So we need to write script, and I'm first going to show you directly how we can create that. Then we are going to create a variable or a const, and I'm just going to call it pop, and I'm going to say document dot query selector, and I want to select an element with a class of tooltipped and end it with a semicolon. Then we initialize it using materialize syntax tooltip dot init, so initializing it. Inside here we call the variable we created, which is pop, and it's going to be followed by an object full of options. So by this time, if we load this page and focus our cursor here, we should see the data tooltip we gave to that button. You see delete article. So the user will see that simple pop-up message. It's the same as you can see because this framework was created by Google. So it's the same as you're seeing here. Very, very simple. So imagine you want to write a lot of text inside this. It will make your markup very large, and you will not love to do that. So what you need to be doing, let's first get rid of this data tooltip. And right now, as you can see, it's empty. What you need to do, as I said, this is an object full of options. So instead of writing the data tool tip here, what you're going to do is write, forgive me for the noise in the background. Then we are going to create the key name, which is HTML, and this takes in a string. So last time you saw delete article, so we should be able to see that delete article here. So right now it's empty. When I refresh, we should see that. So right now we are saving a lot of markup we will be writing in this tag or element. So we are doing it dynamically using JavaScript inside this object, which has a lot of options. So there are very many options we can pass in this tooltip. Then I think the second option we can pass in is how fast you want to display this tooltip. As you can see, it has the in duration and the out duration. So when you hover, there is that duration it comes in, which is number. Then when we go out, there is also that duration. So we can also determine the in duration. We can say in duration, so the time it takes when it's coming in. And I'm first going to make it more slower. So I have set it to 1000. Let's refresh. As you can see, it takes 1000 when it's coming in. And there is also out duration. So when you are leaving that element, out duration. So these are different options that you can pass in inside the tooltip using this Materialize framework. Then I'm going to also make it slower, like 2000. Refresh. So this is the in duration, the first one, which is 1000, and the out duration, which is 2000. So you can see you can play around with these tooltips the way you want on your page. I just wanted to show you about that. Then we can also position this tooltip around this element. We can set it to top, left, bottom, right. So by default, it's always at the bottom. Let us set these ones to the default. The default is 300, the in duration, and the out duration is 375. So you can go around and play with that. You see, in duration, out duration. Then I'm going to put a comma here. Then there is also another key name, which is position. Sorry, something has scared me here, sorry. Then yeah, we can, by default is at the bottom. I can set it to the right. I think it's a string. I can say right. Refresh. So we should be able to see that tooltip on the right hand side. As you can see, we are saving a lot of markup that will go inside here. So we are passing it as an object with options. We can set this one to top, so you can play around with the tooltip. As you can see, I think by default Chrome puts them at the bottom with some extra styling. You can see I'm using also this Chromebook. So these ones are set to the top. You can see the apps I'm hovering over: Gmail, Docs, Google Chrome, YouTube, Files, Carrot, the text editor I'm using right now, Web Server for Chrome, Screencast, stuff like that. So those are all tooltips. We can go on and place them to the right bottom. So the option is yours. That's what I wanted to show you guys in this simple tutorial. If this tutorial was useful to you, please go ahead, subscribe to my channel, like the video, share it on different social medias, and I'll already be seeing you in the next tutorial. And before you go, guys, sorry, this is not advised to do, right? Like you just open the script tag and write code there. So we want to make sure that the document fully loads for us to put this code or for us to run this code. So we can pass in an event listener. We can say document dot add event listener, the way you do it with jQuery, if you have ever worked with jQuery. So document dot add event listener. The event we want is called DOM content, DOM content loaded. Then put a comma, we pass in a callback function, and this right in the middle is where we need to place our code. So what we're telling the browser, please don't run any code that is inside here before the document loads or when all the content is loaded on the page. So I think this is the right way, or it can still run like the way we did it, but this the standard way to set up all this code. So we make sure that the DOM is fully loaded for us to run this code on the page. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorials. Peace.